What's up, Brownies? Welcome into the Browns Report by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, filling in for you today. And listen, I got to be completely honest with you. I realize there's been a lot of different chaos surrounding the Cleveland Browns. Well, today, you're probably just going to have to suffer through a little bit more because ESPN's Dan Graziano just dropped some interesting trade rumors that we have to discuss. Now, before we get into that, we do have a training camp sub-battle with the Steelers, and I'm so tired of hearing Jack Sperry running his big fat mouth talking about how he is going to absolutely demolish us not only on the field, but also off the field. So do me a favor, if you're a Browns fan that wants free Browns coverage all year long, hit that subscribe button and lock us in. Could the Browns be trading a quarterback? Well, if you remember when I jumped onto the show just a couple of days ago, I said that there was a rumor from NFL Sleeper Rumors that indicated that the Browns might be interested in that. Here's what Dan Graziano had to specifically say. Cleveland is open to the idea if any of the one of the four guys winning the job for week one, and the way that the coaching staff divides reps in the coming weeks could offer clues about who is in the lead. It is also possible, even likely, by the way, that they end up trading one of those guys before the season starts to ease the logjam. So we obviously know that Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco are easily on the trading block. That doesn't mean that the Browns are going to trade them. But the question then becomes, would Cleveland trade either of the rookies? So the veterans could easily be traded for whatever reason. They've been traded before. The rookies now become the major question. Would you trade away Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders? Well, let's start by going from the top down. Would Flacco have any trade value? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you mean to tell me that for 1 second, there's not a single team in the NFL that doesn't have a need for a guy like Joe Flacco, even as a backup role? I would say that's insane. Given his success throughout his entire career, there is at least one team that would love to trade for Joe Flacco, even as a backup. And we're going to touch on 4 separate teams. But if I look at the way that this is currently constructed, right? I look at Flacco, I look at Pickett, I look at Gabriel. And, of course, Shedeur Sanders is on there as well. Flacco and Kenny Pickett probably have the most trade value in the sense of you know what you're getting. But Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders are unknowns. So could they potentially have a higher trade value because of that? It remains to be seen. Here's what I do know. Right now, it's going to come down to the preseason. You're going to have to see how Gabriel plays, how Shedeur plays, and if you play Flacco and Pickett, because you're going to play both of them, if you play both Flacco and Pickett, how either one of them looks against the starters. So I'm just going to ask you straight out of the gates. Should the Browns trade a quarterback? If so, which one? Let me know in the comment section down below. If I had to stake my claim on it right now, I'd trade away for Kenny Pickett. I know that sounds crazy considering the Browns traded for Kenny Pickett, but that would just be my 2 cents on the whole matter. He's obviously the one that I don't think has any real shot of starting week one. But there also has to be a trade partner for a trade to go through, right? And quarterback, obviously the most valuable position to trade for. So obviously, I think all 4 of them could garner some market. But what are the teams right now that could be in the market to get a quarterback? Well, I've highlighted 4 of them. Some of them would have an immediate need for one to start. Others could end up seeing a couple ride the bench. Let's start with the New Orleans Saints, who drafted Tyler Shuck in round 2 of the 2025 NFL Draft. He's going up against Spencer Rattler right now for QB1 competition. Shuck, though, looks awful. In fact, even the New Orleans beat reporters have said, yeah, it's not been the smoothest transition from college into the NFL like everybody thought, considering you took him in the 2nd round. In fact, Garland Gillian said this, 7 practices into Saints training camp. Where do the quarterbacks stand? Well, Spencer Rattler holds the advantage over Tyler Shuck, which is saying something because Spencer Rattler's not great. Shuck looks like a rookie out there, and things are not slowing down for him just yet. But there's still time left to catch up to Rattler. So right now, Rattler's in number 1. We also know that the Saints were interested in Shedeur for a long time. It wasn't until really a couple days before the draft that you saw the Saints kind of pull out of the Shedeur Sanders sweepstakes. So before I continue on, let me ask you this. Name a team that could trade for a quarterback. If you think there's another team in the NFL outside of the ones that I'm going to list, Let me know in the comment section down below. But I think these four right now are clearly the ones that have the most value or could see the highest need for a quarterback at this point. So the Saints obviously have their own thing going on. I think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL. Don't tell Trizzy Trace Gerard I said that. But the second team, now I start things get a little bit interesting. The Indianapolis Colts. Well, didn't they just go out and sign Daniel Jones? Yeah, they did. But if you're riding with Daniel Jones as your starting quarterback for the entirety of the season, you got some problems. Same with their backup right now, Anthony Richardson. Excuse me, that's my apologies. But I look at this right now and I say these two are probably the worst back-to-back combo starters in the entire league. And I take no pleasure in saying that because I don't like to talk negatively about players, but Daniel Jones is what he is, and Anthony Richardson, we have no idea what he is. We just know that he's not accurate. So it might be time, at least from an Anthony Richardson perspective, to give up on him. And I say that because with Shane Steichen as their head coach, who is an offensive-minded guy coming from Philadelphia, who worked really well with the likes of Jalen Hurts, clearly can't figure out how to make Anthony Richardson better. So if you've got a guy like Anthony Richardson, who's got all of the physical tools that you're looking for, the mobility, the arm strength, the size, the speed, but he can't complete a pass, what good is he? So they've got a talented roster, guys like Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr. on offense. They're going to be a pretty decent team to watch with competent quarterback play. Outside of that, though, right now, the Colts, it's just an ugly look from a quarterback perspective. So they could easily get into the quarterback sweepstakes. Another team that you could see getting into some quarterback trade talk would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. What? They got Aaron Rodgers. Why on earth would they do that? Well, Aaron Rodgers is on a one-year deal, and there's really not a succession plan outside of him. I know they drafted, what did they draft? Will Howard, who is clearly not NFL ready. But I look at this and I say, first things first, this wouldn't happen before the season. This would happen during the season. Now, another reason that it could happen is because, one, Aaron Rodgers is 41 years old, and we've already seen him have some injury concerns with the Jets after his torn Achilles. And number two, what if Aaron Rodgers is, on his last leg? Literally, no pun intended. What if you see throughout the first 8 games of the season, Aaron Rodgers is just awful? Then what do? Do they ride with Mason Rudolph? Do they go with the Rook, Will Howard? I don't think so. Pitt's roster is really, really talented. And I take no pleasure saying in that because I don't like the Steelers. But they could win with Flacco. I mean, think about all the guys that they have on that team now. DK Metcalf, he's in the building. George Pickens is out of the building. They drafted a really talented running back named Caleb Johnson. So they've got a talented defense as well. So this could be a sort of, replace one old guy with another old guy. So you could go from Aaron Rodgers to Joe Flacco. Or in the event that you are doing well with Rodgers, if you wanted someone who was a successful backup plan, just in case, you could end up sending a 7th-round pick over to the Cleveland Browns for Flacco. Although I don't think this one's nearly as likely to happen. Are the Steelers your least favorite team in the NFL? They should be at least one of them. And if they are, type yes down in the comment section down below. If not, tell me who your least favorite team is in the NFL. But everybody from the AFC North should probably be on that list. The final team that I have in this trade rumor scenario is the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, signing Geno Smith, that's clearly plan A. But what about plan B, plan C? Well, Aiden O'Connell? Is that really it? I don't think so. So the Raiders could be one of those teams that says we really want to explore an option for a veteran-type player. So I look at this and I say this could be a very likely possibility if Geno Smith ends up getting hurt, or let's just say hypothetically Pete Carroll gets tired of him and he's like, we need to move on. Could you go out and get a guy like Kenny Pickett? Could you all go out and trade for a guy like Joe Flacco? I don't know. What about Shedeur? We know that there have been a lot of reports about the Silver and Black loving Shedeur prior to the draft. And then everything happened the way that it did, and all of a sudden, the Raiders are out of the Shedeur Sanders market. I also know this. Tom Brady, who is now president of operations there for the Vegas Raiders, he loves Shedeur. they talk daily. Like, they're really, really close. Whether that's a Dion thing or if that's just a relationship that they cultivated together, either way, they're close. So if Tom Brady finds any sort of value in Shedeur Sanders from a talent perspective, given his, high completion percentage rate in college, you could absolutely see Tom Brady making a couple of phone calls, which leads me to this point. If Geno isn't playing well, Brady and Spytek could look at this as an opportunity to go get a young quarterback to replace Geno Smith. We can make no mistakes about it. Geno Smith is not the long-term future for the Las Vegas Raiders. He's a solution for right now. Shedeur, or maybe even a guy like Dillon Gabriel, could be an option for them, although out of all of them, I think it would be Shedeur Sanders. So will the Browns will the Browns trade one of their quarterbacks? Type T for trade or type K for keep? At this point, before the season starts, I'm inclined to believe that they're going to keep all of them, but I think you could absolutely see a trade happen during the middle of the season. That is going to do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And as always, be cool.